Before we continue, let's recap on the development theories we've discussed today. We began with early classical theory, which gave the basis to capitalist market-oriented approaches, which see growth as a product of market competition and specification, can lead to higher efficiency and higher economic gains. We mentioned that while Adam Smith specifically noted that the capitalist system would benefit the poor in society, David Ricardo did not discuss issues of distribution and welfare in the society. In response to market failure and the Great Depression of the 1930s in the US, John Keynes developed his theory on government intervention and involvement, which can ensure employment creation and improved standard of living. We've also commented on Karl Marx's theory of development as a process of conflict in which workers, after uniting to fight capital owners due to the harsh working conditions, unite to create a new equal system, nowadays termed communism. We also mentioned that the main theory which discussed development in the 1950s was modernization theory. This saw development as a national process in which a country gradually acquires more modern technology and economic strength through both government and market operations. All countries were supposed to achieve this stage of modernization, and developing countries were supposed to be assisted through financial aid in order to reach that. As a reaction to the modernization theory, various other theories and approaches developed and expanded the view of development to an international perspective, often seeing it as an exploitative structure. Neo-Marxist approaches developed in the 1960s, arguing that the capitalist system will not lead to development, and hence developing countries should separate from the world economic system in order to be separated from the control of the capitalist monopolies and achieve economic growth independently. Further, in the 1960s and 70s, structuralist approaches such as the dependency theory or world system approach argued that the development process depends on the links between countries. Moreover, these approaches, for the first time, are based on the experience of developing countries, specifically Latin American countries, and not Western European experiences of hundreds of years before. Whereas the dependency theory explained that the colonial period created links and legacies which harm development effort up to today, the world system approach opens the floor for understanding development as a process in which countries move between stages of production, with the stronger countries at the core producing more high-tech, capital-intensive goods, and the countries in the semi-periphery and periphery produce labor-intensive goods. Hence, these theories and approaches examine development as an international process. However, during the 1970s, more and more voices called to see development as a process of improving one's well-being or providing basic needs, and less of having an economic growth focus. The basic needs approach was developed in the 1970s, focused on development as a process which allows people to consume basic goods which are crucial for their material well-being. This approach took into consideration the fact that when development is seen merely as a process of economic growth, it does not take into consideration social structures and inequalities. Even if the economy is booming, this does not mean necessarily that it will lead to improvements in people's living standards. It further understood that the process of trickle-down, in which benefits from growth are supposed to gradually pass down to all citizens in society, does not actually take place in reality, even when government is responsible for promoting economic growth and development. Importantly, this approach shows a shift from seeing development as a national objective to seeing it in people's perspectives, and examining whether or not policies taken in the national arena actually improve people's lives. We will discuss the basic needs approach and the capability approach, which followed, in the fourth session of this course, which will examine various theories that relate to poverty. Further in this course, we will also discuss more locally and individually based approaches to development, which began to develop in the 1990s. Specifically, in Lesson 6, we will discuss the rights-based approach to development, which brings the notion of human rights to the development process and sees the right to development as a crucial factor in governments and NGOs' decision-making. In the following lesson, we will discuss the asset-based approach to community development, which focuses on the social capital and the power of communities to promote together development for themselves.